this week's episode of Fresh Cut, we're looking at what you can do with herbs and succulents. You might be surprised at how useful and versatile these plants are in a floral design. I visit the stunning Doonholm farm where I learn about the variety of herbs you can get from your garden and some striking succulents of all shapes and sizes. I'll teach you how to make a healing herb posie, ideal as a gift for a friend or a loved one, and show you how to create a floral design using succulents. In the hot summer months, where delicate flowers like roses and all your other little lisianthus really battle and take strain on the heat, it's a great idea to use herbs, which are a little bit more hardy, and succulents in your designs. And now I know the herbs are healing. They have these beautiful aromas and colors. There's scent that can come through into your homes. And succulents are extremely trendy at the moment. Everybody wants to use them. Today I'm at the beautiful Doonholm farm outside Johannesburg, well known for its fragrant herbs, wide variety of succulents, and unique spiral garden. I met with owner Louis van Aswegen to find out more about herbs and succulents. Louis, please tell me more about this farm of yours.
What we do here is quite a range of plants. We do from herbs, succulents, indigenous plants, exotic plants, annual plants that we do have available here at the farm.
Brilliant. You know, I'm extremely intrigued by your succulent section. I've walked through there and I'm just longing to use them in my designs. Which ones are better for use in floral stylings?
I do like the Echeveria kind of varieties because they're so, the texture and the colors that you get. You get from a chocolate brown to soft shades of pink and gray. There's even one that looks like little pebbles, and I call it the pebble plant. It's a beautiful one.
Using succulents in a floral design, oftentimes we wash the soil off and we wire them into the arrangement. And I've always wondered, can they survive after that? Once the flowers have died, the succulents have got roots, can you put them back in the soil?
So then you just take them, put them in a very loose potting mixture. Sometimes you get a succulent mixture available at garden centers, and you plant that into the mixture and put it in a highlight area where it can then develop and grow. As easy as that.
I want to talk about the herbs because the herbs are aromatic and colorful, and these are such beautiful, beautiful things to use in styling.
If you look at, first of all, aroma, because when we think about lavenders, even mint, basil, if you crush it, you have those intense fragrances coming out. That has a physical influence on your body because we actually react physically on the smells that we experience. Lavenders will give you that beautiful, soft, relaxing fragrance and will calm you down. The color of lavender is purple. So even the color in the herb will start to center you and relax you. So for me, the beauty, it's the multidimensional use of the herbs, from the color, the aroma, and benefiting that on a physical level.
Louis, what I really want to do today is I want to show the viewers how to make a healing posie or a healing bouquet using herbs. Which ones do you recommend?
I always, and this is something that we do when we actually have people at the herb farm. And we have a beautiful garden, a spiral garden, that when you walk in, you walk through the different colors, starting from the high intensity red, then going to the orange and the yellows and the greens, and calming down as you walk through the spiral into the blues, and then right in the middle surrounded by white. And the whole idea about that is as you walk through the colors, you are actually calming down. From the high energy reds, right down to the whites and the purples, that is calming and soothing. And linked with that, of course, the fragrances, from the high intensity stimulating reds to the calming purples. So when I take people through the spiral, I tell them what you must do as we walk. Pick the plants that you relate to at this point in time, because those are the colors, textures, and fragrances that your body is craving to find inner healing. And you will be amazed how people change and how they benefit from that, just that process of picking, centering, acknowledging, and breathing in the fragrances.
And I also think that we are quite intuitive for other people. And to be able to collect some herbs from your own garden and colors from your own garden to put together to give to a friend that might be in need or just going through a tough time or might need some creativity or positivity or is something we can do. Which are the better herbs to use?
The ones that will last a little bit longer are the woody ones, and you will basically see that in the texture of the plant. Like lavenders, the rosemaries, it's Mediterranean, a tougher texture. The softer ones like your mint, they need a little bit more water to be able to last long.
When do herbs produce flower? Do they flower all year long?
You will have different times of the year, more oranges and yellows in the beginning of spring when you need those warm colors. In the middle of summer you'll have more blues and you'll have the purples where you need the soft cooling colors. For me, that is the beauty when you have a herb garden, and it changes all the time as you need it. So it's best to step out in the garden and always have a look and be surprised about what is coming next into flower. But now the beauty about it is when we do a flower arrangement, we don't have to just stick with the flowers. What about this scented foliage? Because how beautiful when you do it and you can crush the foliage as a centerpiece and release that fragrance. So lemon verbena has that intense, stimulating lemon fragrance. And even citronella, what a double duty on the table to have a beautiful arrangement and keep the mosquitoes away, because it has that intense, strong lemon fragrance. So really moving from the colors into the beautiful scented foliage that you can incorporate in your arrangement as well.
Well, now that I've been educated a whole lot more about herbs and succulents, I cannot wait to go and get my hands on a few of the varieties and create 2 amazing designs to show you just how we can incorporate these scents and these aromas into our day-to-day life. After the break, I show you how to create 2 unique floral designs. One with beautifully fragrant herbs and another using a variety of succulents. Today I'm at Doonholm Farm and I'm exploring the wonderful world of herbs and succulents. Before the break, I got some expert advice about these plants and the amazing variety out there. Colors, aroma and textures were the inspiration for my first floral design today. So I've made the most fantastic selection. I cannot wait to get started to create this really aromatic and colorful healing bouquet. Whenever you make a tied bunch of flowers or you make a posy in your hands, the beginning steps are to start off by spreading your flowers out per type and keeping them separate from one another. That way you can easily see what you're going to be using. This is echinacea. You're familiar with it. It's magnificent. It's got such huge healing properties. The little center is very hardy and tactile. Eventually the little petals fall off and what's left behind is the stem. This I found, it's called Japanese anemone. It's got these sweet little red berries which I think will play off very well against the center of the echinacea. It's got exactly the same colors. So my selections were about healing, but it was also about what would look good together in the bouquet. Firm favorite, and an absolutely hardy one. This is the one we spoke about, really lasts long in water. And this is beautiful rosemary, just gorgeous. Also found some beautiful Greek columnar basils, gorgeous. And what this is going to do, it's going to be the one in the design or in the bouquet that really holds everything in place. So let's get some of that for sure. Also, it smells magnificent. This purple profoundness is called mint sage. Now, bringing in the lilac colors to just play off against that beautiful cerise pink. They're such a good blend. Lilacs and pinks with a little bit of red to match the red in the center of the echinacea flower. And then Scabiosa, aren't they beautiful? Just another little form of flower. It's got a round shape, so it'll complement nicely with the echinacea. And remembering that flowers that have a little round face pull focus in a design. So these will be the little focus pullers in the bouquet. And then, not to forget, some lovely mint. And nature's favorite healer, lavender. Step number 1 is to actually clean up the stems for use. And you've got to do them all. And the way to do it is, it's the rule of thumb with doing little posies or hand-tied bunches, that at least 2/3 of the stem needs to be free from any of the plant material. So I'm going to clean up all my stems to get ready to use them in the bouquet. And also to mention to you that when you get a stem that has a lot coming off the sides, if I look at the whole stem, the middle point is about there. So everything below the middle point needs to go. And where there's a V or a split in the stem, it's going to be problematic, because the technique of making a perfect posy is to twist the stems around and around and around. And when there's a V, oftentimes that prevents these stems from falling neatly into place, and it can actually cause holes in the top of your bouquet when you look at the end of it. So we're getting through them. You can see how the stems are nice and clean, because you're going to be holding quite high and you want no foliage and no little bits of leaf in the hand. So you really want to do a thorough job of preparing for this kind of arranging. As I'm doing this, the smell of the lavender and all these different herbs that I'm using is just sensational. Separate the flowers, putting all the prettiness and the color and what we call the round form flowers together, the more bushy ones together, and then the ones that are a little bit more linear, as we call them, all to one side. Now the reason I'm doing that is so that when I'm working, I can place one of each first, and then I can come back and I can add what I want based on the little bouquet. So I will start on the extreme left-hand side, pick up a stem, try to always make sure that the hand is relaxed. Every time you add another stem of herb into this little bouquet or posy, you add it across the front of the first one at a slight angle. It's about a 20-degree angle. And then what you do is you just rotate this slightly. And then you'll take another little bloom and pop it in across the front of the first, exactly the same, little bit of an angle, making sure that the flower isn't too high or too low, sort of meeting the level of the others, and just turn it slightly. And this is what you do again and again and again. Cross to the left, get that little scabiosa in. They're going to move around in the beginning. They're going to be all over the place because there's not much to hold them in place. So the first step of getting everything in place is really just let it go. Just be easy with it. Get the stem in, check your heights, make sure you're happy. So just keep an eye now on what we call symmetry. So if I pop a bit of rosemary in now, because of this technique and the way it's designed to create a round arrangement or a round posy, watch what happens. It won't move out of place, it won't move out of position. Now I can assess, what can I have now? A little bit of lavender, because there's no lavender on this side. And that's how you continue with the bouquet until you've finished and you're happy that it's big enough and beautiful enough. The higher you hold, the more tight the bouquet will be, the more in place everything will stay. The lower down you hold, the more they'll fall open at the top. With the posy, you hold higher than usual. So keep your hand quite high, just to keep everything tucked in and tightly together. Sometimes you can even group little flowers together as a bundle and place them into the design to support another one. So now there is 3 as opposed to just a single one, and we can do that a couple of times. So now it's time to cut the stems. You'll see they're all different lengths around the edge here. So what we'll do is we'll match the height of the actual foliage and flowers to the stems. estimate. So your cut line would be about there. And now you can just cut straight. Hold tightly, don't lose control. You'll notice that the stems have formed a perfect spiral and that all the little stems in the hand are all going the same way. You don't have some going that way and some going that way. Now to tie. You can use an elastic. Find a stem on the outside edge here that's quite hardy, to the point where the hand has been holding. Just quite firmly bring the elastic round up until you reach the same stem and get that elastic around it so that that secures the elastic in place. And your little posy is tied. And then all that's left to do is put on a beautiful bit of ribbon and hand it to the person that you love. Stay tuned as after the break I show you how to create a striking succulent arrangement using a beautiful selection of plants that I've picked fresh off the farm. In today's episode, we are exploring the fragrant world of herbs and unique shapes of succulents. I've already created a healing herb posy, and now I'm going to create an arrangement using succulents. So we've come to the part where I'm going to create a beautiful floral design in a hat box, and I'm going to use succulents. And here they are, the most gorgeous selection that I've just pulled straight out of the farm. And I know they're not flowers, but that's why I want to do this, because succulents can become and look like a floral display. And there's a very unique way to use them, which I'm going to show to you. You might be wondering, square blocks, round container, how do I do that? Just take the cellophane to protect the hat box, turn it upside down, and just give it a firm push down on top of the actual, making sure that the foam is on the inside edges of both sides of the box. And quite cleverly, you've made life easy for yourself. You can actually see that now you know where to cut. It's important to cut on the inside edge of where the mark is, because obviously that mark is made by the outer perimeter of the box. So if you cut on that line, the foam won't fit inside the box. Just bring back the cellophane. We're going to put one that way, and just for luck, we'll put one that way. In both your hands, bring it on top of the box, and now just lift the sides of the cellophane up. And gently ease that down. Voila, perfect cut, it's in. Container's ready. Now we need to prep the succulents. So there are many different shapes that I've chosen here. I want to make it a little bit modern. I've used a hat box that's got a bit of a modern edge to it. There's some little spirals and twirls and swirls which kind of match all the little shapes of the leaves. So I think when the two are together, they should turn out really, really well, that they'll be a huge complement to the box. So you'll see there's that one, these two. There's a bit of lime green, which is always great to add into a design because lime green is about vitality. So I also got these little green ones and a couple of the desert roses that we spoke of earlier, just in different shades. So the first thing to do is to get rid of the soil. The roots just sit in a little bit of water in the design. They will actually draw water through the roots. It's not necessary that the roots be completely clear of the soil because they're going to be inside of the design. However, what I wanted to show you here was we need a little bit of a leverage point for the wire to go through so we can pin this into the design. It doesn't have a stem, so the roots will be free inside of the design and the actual thing will be anchored through the thicker part of the stem. So just try and clean it away so that you get a visual image of where it is that you need to send the wire in. So you're looking for a nice thick solid base. We're going to take the wire and with a little bit of strength push it right through the stem and then pull gently but firmly so that you've got even points on either side. And then you just bend it down. And what we'll do here at the end is twist it around the stem that way and this one around the stem that way. So what you've done is you've basically created a fake stem, a longer piece that will then go right inside the foam and hold that flower in place. I'm going to do that for all of these. I'm just going to give them an extra bit of stem length because I want them to sit about that high, and some of their stems are quite short because that's how they've grown. So I need to manage the heights of all of these by giving them what we call a false stem using wire. Absolutely, all of them are wired, and as you could tell, each of them, because of the shape of the stem and how it grows at the bottom, requires a little bit of a different wiring technique, but you'll feel it as you go along. So I'm just going to follow the shape of the container. Nothing fancy here, no funny lines going out anywhere, just a nice, beautiful, round, contained, gorgeous mix of succulents. So you want to start with the biggest one first, and you might be tempted to put it straight in the middle. That's fine, it's one way of doing a design, but when you're wanting to be really good at floral styling and just to be a little bit authentic, a little bit original, think about what you would normally do and do something a little bit different. It usually pays off. So I'm going to send this one a little bit to the right hand side of the design. Now notice that the end of the stem of this succulent is not completely inside the foam. As long as I keep the water level topped up so that there's a bit of water just above the foam, it'll last. Let's just carry on, and I'm just going to place pieces around these to just accentuate what's already there. The next most weighty one for me is this little guy. To balance the weight of this bigness, I'm going to do this, the second biggest of the items that I have directly opposite it, into the same kind of position. Now hold on to the wire, just tuck those stems in, and in it goes. They're all in, and I told you, succulents, because of their unusual shapes, you might end up with some holes, and that's why I have these guys on hand and a little bit of moss. You don't need a lot of these leaves because the idea is you want the design to be a succulent design. I think I'm done. I'm going to bring in this moss because that's just going to give it such a lovely little extra texture. Find a gap and in it goes. Careful though not to break off the little petals of these succulents. They're very delicate. They break off quite easily. It's a good idea to have the moss showing and just sort of falling out of the container. It just adds a little bit of naturalness and as if it's sort of grown, if I could say grown in place. So you see how it's hanging out there and hanging out a little bit there and hanging out a little bit there. Not bad. To take care of this arrangement, remember I said that needs quite a lot of water. You need the water to sit just on top of the foam. Floral design is so much more than just cut flowers. Why don't you get into your garden and see what plants you can find to incorporate into your designs?